You meet someone at a party. 20 minutes later, you could pick their face out of 100 strangers without hesitation. But their name, gone, vanished the second it left their mouth. You smile, you nod, you hope the conversation doesn't require you to say it out loud. This isn't a memory problem. It's not a sign that you're getting worse with age or that you weren't paying attention. It's something far stranger, and it goes back long before names existed at all. Your brain was never built to store names. It was built to store faces. For nearly all of human history, there was no such thing as a spoken name attached to a stranger you just met. There was only a face, and whether that face meant safety or danger. Recognizing a face quickly, accurately, and permanently wasn't a social nicety, it was survival. Every face you'd ever seen needed to be filed instantly into one of two categories: someone who belongs, someone who doesn't. Psychologist Nancy Kanwisher, through decades of neuroimaging research, discovered something remarkable about how the brain processes faces. There is a specific region, now called the fusiform face area, that appears to be dedicated almost entirely to facial recognition, not general visual processing. Faces specifically. This region activates within milliseconds of seeing a face, faster than almost any other type of recognition your brain performs. Think about what that means. Your brain built an entire specialized processing center just for faces. It never built one for names. Names are a completely different kind of information. They're arbitrary. There is no reason the syllables SARAH should belong to a particular person's face, any more than any other combination of sounds. Your brain has to memorize an arbitrary label and bolt it onto a face that already made perfect, automatic sense on its own. That mismatch is where the trouble begins. Here's where it gets stranger. Cognitive scientist Deborah Burke, who has spent years studying memory retrieval, found that name recall doesn't just feel harder than face recognition. It genuinely is a fundamentally different cognitive task, involving different memory systems entirely. Faces are processed holistically, all at once, as a single, meaningful pattern. Names are processed linearly, one arbitrary sound after another, with no built-in shortcut to help you retrieve them later. This is sometimes called the Baker-Baker paradox, first described by researchers studying memory. If you tell someone a man's profession is a baker, they'll likely remember it. But if you tell them his last name is Baker, they're far more likely to forget it. Same word, same sound, completely different memory outcome. Why? Because baker. The profession connects to a rich network of meaning, flour, ovens, bread, mornings. Baker, the surname, connects to nothing. It's just a label floating with no anchor. Names, to your brain, are almost always floating labels. But faces are packed with meaning your ancestors couldn't afford to ignore. A slight narrowing of the eyes, a particular set of the jaw, the exact curve of a smile that either reached the eyes or didn't. Anthropologists studying small-scale societies have long noted that humans lived in groups where facial recognition determined nearly every important social decision. Who to trust with your children, who to share food with during scarcity, who had wronged you before and might again. Your ancestors who forgot a hostile face didn't get a second chance to learn from that mistake. Names simply weren't part of that ancient equation, at least not in the way we use them today. Many early human groups were small enough that formal names mattered less than relationship and reputation, encoded directly onto a face you'd know instantly, forever. Here's a question worth sitting with. If your brain is this good at faces, why does it feel like it's failing you in social situations built entirely around names? because you're using ancient hardware in a completely modern operating system. Modern life demands you learn dozens, sometimes hundreds of names: coworkers, neighbors, parents at your child's school, people you meet once at a conference and are expected to remember a year later. Your face recognition system handles this volume beautifully. It barely breaks a sweat. Your name recall system was never designed for this kind of load. It's improvising every single time. Neuroscientist Elizabeth Phelps, who has researched memory and emotion extensively, found something that adds another layer to this story. Emotional context dramatically strengthens memory formation. This is partly why you might instantly remember the name of someone who embarrassed you, insulted you, or made you laugh hysterically while forgetting the name of someone perfectly pleasant you met under neutral circumstances. Your ancient alarm systems, the ones built for detecting threat and reward, still decide what gets encoded strongly and what slips away. A pleasant introduction at a work event doesn't trigger that alarm. There's no threat, no emotional spike. So, the name, disconnected from any survival relevant meaning, simply doesn't stick the way a face automatically does. There's a twist inside this that's worth sitting with, too. The very feeling of forgetting a name, that flush of embarrassment, that scramble to avoid saying it out loud, may itself be an ancient social signal doing exactly what it evolved to do. Social standing has always mattered enormously to human survival, and the discomfort of a memory lapse in front of others is your brain flagging a potential threat to your reputation. The anxiety isn't separate from the memory failure, it's a companion instinct. Both of them ancient, both of them still running. So, the next time a name slips through your fingers seconds after you've heard it, you don't have to read it as evidence that something is wrong with your memory. Your memory is doing exactly what it was built to do. It's holding on to the one thing that mattered most for tens of thousands of years, the face in front of you, while quietly, understandably, letting go of a label your ancestors never needed at all. You meet someone at a party, their name disappears almost instantly. But their face, you'll recognize it anywhere because some part of you is still watching for it, the way your ancestors always did.